Can I ask, is anyone in a group on a clinical trial anywhere?
I was just going to say, someone who's not in the group, who is in the group but not here today, unfortunately, is on a clinical trial. But it often comes up in these sessions where people ask, they hear about clinical trials of these new drugs and want to know, how do you get on one? Do you just trust that your oncologist will know you and know if you're eligible for one and place you on one? Or do you as a patient have to be looking around clinical trials and putting your hand up and speaking to your oncologist? What advice would you give to the group about that question?
Yeah, so it's always important to be aware of the clinical trials, and there's quite a few of them floating around, and it's very dynamic. Also, a picture there with the clinical trials, they often open and close fairly quickly, and even the oncologists that work in a setting are not always updated on what's there. We've recently, a couple of years ago, created an app which can be downloaded on the phone, and patients can follow that as well and download the app. It's called ClinTrial Refer. Actually, I'll just put that in the chat. Actually, I think you don't even need a Queensland anymore, because now it's become nationwide, because multiple states had their own version, and I think they merged all into one now. So you can look up the tumor type and see some of the trials that are used in patients who are first diagnosed. Some of them are used in the later lines, and some of them are used in patients that have sort of exhausted all standard lines of treatment, and there's no approved treatments that will work anymore.
So that sounds very exciting, to be able to have an app that people could look up themselves.
That's right. So the trials usually look at the new drugs, and that's why we really try to get as many as possible, because they give us access to the drugs that are not on PBS and that they might not even be registered in Australia. And certainly, as an additional option. A lot of the trials have fairly stringent inclusion and exclusion criteria, which is a pain, but it's done because these drugs are still experimental in a way, and the researchers need to make sure ethically that they keep close eye on any toxicities and side effects. So not everyone can get on a trial, especially if there's any other medical issues or problems that will potentially interfere with the drug. But if we can get, we certainly prefer enrolling anyone on a trial that would potentially benefit from it, because we know that all the drugs that are currently available at some point will stop working, or the tumor will get resistant to it. So only really with trials and getting new drugs we can extend survival. So if you find out anything and your oncologist is not aware, please remind them, and it's worthwhile checking whether that may be suitable for you or not.
Well, that's good to know, Vlad. And so you're really encouraging people to feel they can raise these questions with their oncologists. You can say you heard it here in this group from Dr. Nedeljkovic.